Hey y'all, we back. You know it's getting hot up in here. We had to let the tea go and get some chili peppers. I don't know. Couldn't go through that joke right there. Anyway, but we're just gonna dive back on in. Ryan, on your podcast, y'all had said, and I didn't think about this, no party came out to support him. Although he seems to be aligning with the Republican ideas. And he has said, I have to pull out the exact quote because you know brother West can get wordy, talking about the Democratic blacks and the Democratic vote. He said this is a form of racism and white supremacy and white control to say that all black people need to be Democrat and to assume that me running is me splitting the vote. And then he goes on, as an entertainer, he was threatened that, to be Democratic, and if he were to speak out to say that he was a Republican, that could ruin his music career. He says at the end of that quote, that's what the Democrats are doing emotionally to my people, threatening them to the point where this white man, and we'll talk about the white man Biden in just a second, can tell a black man, if you don't vote for me, you're not black. Brother Biden got on Breakfast Club and he said that if you have a problem figuring out whether you're for me or Trump, then you ain't black. Brother Javi, you got any thoughts on that?
To just back up a little bit to your previous statement, I do agree with the idea that he would be splitting the vote, because the basis of that is sort of, if we go back to the 2016 election, and I'm going to be fully I'm Democratic. Wait, are we allowed to curse on here?
You know what? I will allow it.
Cool. I just wanted to make sure before I say anything fuck Trump.
Wow.
For him denying splitting the vote, I disagree, because you will have people, if you look at Hillary and Bernie. A lot of Bernie voters, I'm not saying right or wrong, it just kind of happened. There was a lot of write-in votes, the Democratic candidate, but that also took away, I guess, from the overall singular Democratic vote. And that sort of led to the rise, which, there are a lot of different things and reasons to point to the rise of Trump, both socially, economically, and politically. In long short, doing that again with this, when Trump is right now, for all intents and purposes, the front runner of the Republican race, and is pretty much going unopposed at the moment. There's no one who's really a front runner in that kind of section. So then if you look at his base being there for him, voting and showing up for him no matter what, and then you assume that there will be some Democrats who would vote for Kanye, you're again detracting. Speaking of Biden, I have my own slew of things with Biden himself, and I'm not necessarily really on board with it. And I think what he was trying to say, and I'm not caping for him, was that the Republicans, specifically Trump's, his sort of alignment policies, his things like that, don't align with things that would really necessarily benefit the black community as a whole. But that was really the worst way to possibly say that, Biden. So good on you. And there's so many things here, and again, looking at Kanye, even from that interview, and him talking about what his beliefs are, and I know you said we'll talk about religion in a second, which I think is a very interesting aspect of a lot of his policies, but how he views Planned Parenthood and a lot of different resources that provide that are I want to say democratic institutions, but as of right now, institutions that may find themselves at odds or often attacked or shut down or in sort of in limbo or in trouble because of policies or rhetoric from the Republican Party. A lot of the things that he may be a proponent against on his platform are things that help a lot of different people in a lot of different ways. And Parenthood, again, for an example, it's really hard to kind of get behind him. Also, I think he's really been out of touch with a lot of the black community, the way that, granted, he didn't talk much about his association with Trump, but him putting on that MAGA hat anyway, and sort of talking about views about the black people in the country, and then even making us, if we vote Democrat, seem like we're not for the advancement of Black people. He's demonizing proportions or sections of the Black community themselves when aligning and saying that poisonous and potentially dangerous rhetoric.
What I've seen and heard personally, I feel like a lot of older Black people have some of the similar views and standpoints as Republicans. I think a lot of that is rooted in religion. I always say that I feel like our parents, especially in the Black community, didn't get to go for their dreams. It was about providing for their family. So I think religion, a lot of young people are, if they grew up in the church, they might be steering away from it, finding their own ways spiritually align themselves. Is Trump Christian?
No way.
No, he's not? I don't know. I'm asking. I don't know that man.
I'm inclined to believe Kanye is Christian than Trump is.
So Cole and I have talked. We both grew up in the church. I know you liked what Kanye was saying, you know, with his message and his morals and values. Do you use that part of your identity to decide a candidate, or do you kind of use it as a filter but not the sole deciding factor?
I think if you're asking my parents, they would definitely say they use their Christianity as like a meter of like who they're going to vote for. If you're asking me, I'm a little more fluid when it comes to that. If you have a certain set of beliefs, I'll pay attention to them and I'll listen to them. And there might be some things that I might not be cool with. There might be some things that I really dig. I know that when Kanye talked about in that Forbes article, they just went through like this huge like swath of issues. I definitely didn't agree with him with abortion, but his what his moral center was. I feel like with just a lot of politicians, or like with anyone in like the public eye, they're like so just like wish-washy or just general with their leanings. Even if I don't agree with Kanye on his view on abortion, I feel like it's important to know where your leaders stand, just like what they believe in.
Personally, I mean, I grew up in a home that wasn't very religious. And this is used within the secular community, when I came out as atheist in high school, I might as well have put the scarlet letter on me at my high school, growing up in an area that's very conservative, very religious. But some of what factored into that has been being a history geek and watching how, past presidents have used their faith in ways that don't seem to add up based on principle, namely George W. Bush and Ronald Reagan. Now, granted, I'm lumping them in as Republicans, but they're, out of the last 40 years, they're probably two of the most religious presidents we've ever had. And almost all of our presidents have been as such. I know that Jefferson may not have been. He was a deist. Lincoln he might have been a deist as well. And I'm convinced that that we got back-to-back atheists with Obama and Donald Trump. But and that's a whole nother discussion. That's something that I've always admired with presidential candidates, that I don't feel using faith is, at least I've seen it be used as a form of just to get votes and just to get people to back you, even if you don't fulfill their promises, i.e., all the Republican presidents we've had since Roe v. Wade. During the last two elections, that's why a candidate like Bernie Sanders appealed to me, because whenever people would start asking about his faith, he'd be like, no, I want to talk about solutions. and that's great. Like, you're trying to stay on topic while the people of my field in journalism are trying to kind of gear you away when you've already been a public figure for so long. While Kanye may have had a chance at getting a good grasp on that in terms of religious voters, it's strange, just because I know that he's had consistent support from evangelicals in the country. It just seems strange to think of anybody that could take that away. Because even Biden doesn't talk too much about faith and religion when he's giving speeches. So, I think, and that's just a shift in the Democratic Party. I think it is becoming a lot more secular. One could argue the Republican Party kind of is too. I mean, a lot of people thought we were going to slide into, a theocracy with George Bush, and it never happened. In the after 8 years of Obama and then Trump, it seemed like Republicans have just kind of stepped a little bit away But every now and then you get that weird article of a pastor saying don't wear masks, and you're just like, oh no, it's still here.
When it comes to specifically religion and like presidential candidates and really just politics as a whole, this is where because I also grew up in the church to a certain degree. I'm very spiritual, but one of my biggest problems when it comes to religion in U.S. politics, particularly when it comes to the Republican Party, and I think it's also reflected within the article with Kanye, is that it's often used as a tool to demonize others, as a tool used to take away rights of others in a justification kind of a way. It's really wild to me. Because yes, like the Bible preaches, do unto others as you would have others do unto you, and like love thy neighbor. But yet you have people literally trying to take rights away from their neighbor, and they're using these things as tools against people, whether it be when it comes to Planned Parenthood or abortion, when it comes to having people from other countries here, looking at the U.S. as the demographics grow and the demographics shift and change. Not only do we have people who may not align specifically with those specific religious views, but we have people of all different types of religion, and then we're then putting up one religion over others on a political scale, on a way that has policies that affect people not only in one state, but across the country for years. And then we use that as as a flag saying like this religion, because of their personal views, they then determine the outcome for everyone else. And that just, I really hate that. And then you can even extend that to our judicial system when it comes to the Supreme Court. Supreme Court justices their turnover is not very often when they retire or when they die. You can have somebody put up 3 Supreme Court justices or 2 Supreme Court justices as is already. Their specific religious views and things like that could overturn policies that have helped others and that could potentially help others. So when it comes to even the vaccine comment, and he is like, I had to pray, and I'm totally against vaccines because I don't want you to people get up to heaven's door and then boom, you have the devil inside of them. If somebody needs a vaccine, give them that vaccine. But to have somebody use a religious justification for them not receiving that vaccine, to me is, and again, pardon my French, it's fucked up. And then deny somebody health care from a place that you work, Hobby Lobby, denying somebody health care opportunities and resources because they may identify as their sexual orientation or gender may be different than what your religious views sort of dictate, deem, and allow, that kind of a thing. So I'm not trying to say I have something against religion. I just think that when it becomes a part of U.S. politics, I really don't like it because they really use it to justify their own personal ends and means, to impose their own ideas onto others and to take away the rights of others.
Oh, Javi, I totally agree with you, man. I totally agree with you. I think what you're feeling is the thing that we all hate. We all hate it when there's one religion to rule them all. And I don't think that's healthy. I don't think that's good at all. And I think what's also happened with Christianity is that we've affiliated Christianity with Republican and also with white. So you now have these 3 different things that are deemed bad and evil and unhealthy for the country. And now you have this person who seems like they should be against this stuff is for it. I think there's another layer though, and that layer is honesty. And that's what Kanye represents. When I see him running for president, I'm looking at Biden, he's not honest. I'm looking at Trump, he's not honest. At least Kanye is honest about what he believes in. And I feel like if he's honest, he's going to be open to when he's wrong. If anyone's going to be wrong, it's going to be Kanye West, and he'll be the first to admit it. If you listen to any of his albums, one that came out in 2018, Yay, he made a comment about when he said the 13th Amendment was a trap and we needed to abolish the 13th Amendment. He admitted he was wrong. He said 13th Amendment, got to get rid of it. That's on me. He said that I shouldn't have said that. So he's been honest about when he's wrong. If he's wrong about something, he's going to be honest about it.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys saw, or if it was even real. I guess it can be an open discussion. He tweeted something which I only saw the screen grab of because I guess he deleted it right away. I don't know if you guys know what I'm talking about. He posted a picture of a 6-month-old fetus and said, "This soul deserves to live." I don't know if you guys heard that he did that.
Yeah.
I tried to find through like other publications if it was legitimate or not, and I couldn't find it until the New York Magazine came out and said that he did actually tweet that and delete it. So like, to me, that's like such a dangerous thing for someone to tweet out because it's illegal to have an abortion for a 6-month-old fetus. So it just seems like he doesn't understand. And maybe someone did tell him right away, like, that's not how it works, and he deleted it. So I do agree with Cole. He does listen. Like, he does listen, and he will change his mind. Like, he has no problem saying he's wrong. That's why even the fact that he pulled out of the race, I think is people kind of telling him, like, it's not time yet. Like our main goal is to beat Trump. And I don't know if that's, he says he changed his mind on Trump, but who knows? But he does definitely listen. That's appreciated, I guess.
All right, y'all. So the conversation is still heating up. We're going to have another part to this. So be sure to follow all of my guests. Their @ names are on their screens. And make sure to come back for our next part.